I was just putting the PR together for the charter, but I've never been in the situation where it was like a brand spanking new GitHub repo, and I wanted to do something as a PR. And so it's like I've been having it's like going back and forth trying to figure out, like, it really doesn't like my plan. So I will hopefully have it ready in a minute or two.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, I had the agenda started, but I didn't really have anything on it. I'll throw a link in the chat, assuming I can find that window. Oh, you did already, Catherine. But yeah, I thought it was really like kind of re-kick off, seeing as I think it's been a month and a half since we last met. And now we're doing Fridays. I really massively screwed up my schedule this semester. I'm not quite sure how. I was such an idiot, but oh my God. So it collided with this meeting. It collided with my streaming show. It collided with another meeting I have that I decided to put a class. I don't know why.
But you figured it out now.
I think it is, well, now it's just possible rather than, impossible, but it is not sane. So.
Okay. So, yeah.
So hopefully it'll be better next semester, though. I did sort it out for next semester, so hopefully it'll solve the problem.
Yeah. And so
All right.
with PR, the issue you meant it's just because it's brand new and you don't know where.
No, so apparently I didn't realize this. If you have an empty repo on GitHub and then push from a branch, it gets rid of main and creates that branch as the master or main or the whatever, like the protected one. And yeah, I had no idea. And so at the moment, oh shoot, and I may not be able to fix it. So at the moment, the branch I created is the default, which I didn't want. So let me fix it. But long story short, I will have a PR hopefully in a few minutes, and it will. Yeah, like I said, so I just have I've never started content on a GitHub repo like from scratch. Like I always just start in main and off we go. I don't normally try to do something as my first commit as a PR.
It's a new experience. So now you
Yeah. And not a positive one. So that's what I'm trying to fix. The other entertaining thing is, shockingly, as far as I'm concerned, I had a talk accepted for KubeCon EU about this group. So I don't know if I ever sent this group my abstract, but basically, I was talking over with somebody. Was I talking to you, Corey? Or was it somebody else? I can't remember who I was talking to, but basically submitted a proposal saying, okay, there's a student who's going to get on stage and say, this is all the stuff I wish I had learned before, like in college, before, now she's doing her master's degree. And basically my response is the higher ed working group is kind of the idea. And so it's a pair of us presenting.
Oh, I found it now.
Great.
Very cool.
Yeah. But because I expected the chances of actually getting the talk accepted to be near zero, I really wasn't planning for it. So along with my other scheduling snafus, now I'm in Paris for a week, right after spring break. So
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I'm excited about, like giving the talk. I am not excited about anything around it.
Yeah, no, but that's
But I
cool.
think it's good news
Like
for that
the-
group. But
yeah. And Azim was asking a question regarding who this group is for. So
Sorry, I didn't want to
I'm in
interrupt
the,
you. Sorry.
yeah, no worries. I'm actually in the middle of posting the charter right now. So if you go here, I'm trying to make it so that we can have a votable pull request that will allow us to kind of accept it as the proposed charter. The link I sent you should be
I'm able to
to
access
the
it.
incorrect main that I was just ranting about.
but the quick answer is it's a collaboration between several. I mean, we cannot do this without, I mean, the faculty part is the most important part, right? And then, but like collaboration with industry is also important. So
Right.
Got
So the idea is basically kind of in short, right, that we believe that a lot of students are going out kind of into the world without a good understanding of what, so like there's a lot of curriculum, a lot of content focused on how to kind of build more of Kubernetes, but there's not a whole lot of content out there about, okay, I've got a Kubernetes, but what does that change about my application design, my application implementation, and how do I support that? And so what this group is about is trying to create curricula that will help faculty members teach about how do you do development in a cloud native environment, which is kind of fundamentally different than what all the classes here. I teach at BU, right? All the classes here are kind of web servers and with the database attached, and maybe it's running in containers, but it's unlikely. But that's kind of fundamentally odd when you have to do something like you want to do like event driven design, or you want to have a loosely connected event oriented architecture, that kind of thing.
Got it. Makes sense. Sounds interesting and will be really helpful for the students. Sounds good. Thank you.
And so we're trying to get the charter, like we have a lot of content written. We just hadn't kind of got it. We were a little bit late in getting like the repo sorted out. And so we have been basically our list of things to do is to kind of get all that stuff ratified so that people don't come here and have that exact question is the idea.
and so what's the next step for the charter?
I am
That is
about
now,
to make
so
PR
basically
for
this is
it.
main now, right? You're
No, well, I'm going to ask Jorge to switch it back
okay.
because I think I just don't have priv.
Okay, and it's basically asking him to put it back and then us
like redesignate main as the primary. Because when when the only content was on a branch, it decided my new branch was the primary.
Mhm.
And so that's what I would like him to fix, assuming it will let me. Okay. And so let's see, will this let me? It really doesn't want me to do this. Sometimes GitHub's helpfulness is confusing. So what else did we want to talk about? Corey, did you want to talk about your upcoming event?
Yeah, sure. I can share it. I think you and Catherine already know, but I'll share it with Azim also. I wanted to expose and make students more aware of cloud native technologies. At the moment, I have students mentoring and interning with OpenStack, the Open Infra Foundation, and I have 8 students doing mentorships with some of your ex Red Hat engineers there working on what are they? Tempest, going to be Ironic, and also Manila, the file sharing Manila. But I also want to show students that there's also cloud native and expose them to the Go programming language. So I'm hosting a boot camp and hackathon. The boot camp is a week after your the KubeCon. It's on the 29th of Friday, and then the following Friday will be more of a hackathon on April 5th. And I'm working on an agenda right now. I've reserved a room for about 40 students could fit in the room, but I'm planning to actually stream it on YouTube, live stream it on YouTube, and then maybe even I haven't tried TikTok Live, maybe set up TikTok Live and put it out there and stream it out there online. But I'm working on an agenda right now for the first day. I want them to learn more about cloud native, all the different technologies or projects, and also learn how to become a contributor. I really want my students to contribute code to these cloud native projects, because that's how they get involved, that's how they can network, that's how they can learn more about cloud technologies. So I'm actually going to designate an hour or two for learning about how to contribute to cloud native. And then I'm also looking at a workshop on Minikube. I think if I can have students running Minikube on their laptops, then they can start experimenting with Kubernetes, clusters, get into development, and just grow from there into more enterprise type applications. So right now that's what I have, sort of a rough draft for day one. What cloud native is, the projects, how to become a contributor, setting up Minikube, and then maybe some tutorials to end up day one. And then for the second day, they'll have Minikube up and running on their machines, so they can come back and maybe do some kind of I don't know, contest or a game, put them in groups, work together and work on some kind of project or present something that they've developed over the couple of hours on the second day and Friday. I'm kind of just spitballing here. This is the first time I'm putting this, hosting this and cloud native, but I'm always open to suggestions. If you all have any kind of suggestions about past hackathons or boot camps with cloud native, I'm always open here to hear suggestions.
So if it's more Kubernetes proper focused, there's all the what do they call them? Kube camps, different all the various open source communities I've been involved with over the years have different names for their like single day local events.
Okay.
And I can never keep them straight anymore, but I think it's Kube camps or something. And I actually know a woman who's run a few of them.
Oh, great.
Who I
Thank
may
you.
be able to connect you to. But those are, those will be, again, kind of more focused on things like Ironic rather than things like, how, like, why would you want to deploy a serverless function?
Okay. I'll take a look at that. Thank you for that, Langdon. And, out of this sort of boot camps and hackathons, besides having students being mentored and doing internships, I can use this as sort of like my own system or framework to develop content for us, for our project. So
Well, I
I'm
would
kind of
actually even propose, I don't know if, how you want to share it or whatever, but I don't think, Kubernetes community days, that's what they call them. I think it might be Drupal, the Drupal world that calls them Drupal camps. I don't know. I can't remember them all, like I said. But it might be worthwhile just, make a new, maybe we make kind of a new directory that's workshops, and
Yeah.
yours could just be the first or whatever. I don't know if we'll give them a fancy name like, community days or whatever, but we can just kind of start a template that other people can use.
Yeah, that'd be great.
One of the best ones I ever saw was, have you ever been to, I presume at least one of you have been to a DevOps days?
I have
been to one
not.
of the conferences? So
Ah,
single
went to-
day, single track. But I started, or I co-started the one for Boston many years ago, and that team had this like DevOps days in a box, and they just
Really?
gave you the thing, and and up you went. They had a place where your website would land and how to change your content to make it match, and here's what you'll need for like, here are all the letters you're going to need to like get sponsored and like everything else. It was amazing. Yeah, I've never seen anyone that was so good. It was amazing.
Well,
I'll
the
send that.
Kubernetes Community Days is actually based on that idea, right? So they kind of, and they
Yeah,
said
yeah.
that they basically looked at what DevOps Days was doing and they tried to recreate it. So I
Okay.
would think probably this,
I've never tried to make a community day.
yeah, I think that's probably something that could be done on the community sites page. Maybe if we have,
Mm.
like do it once, create like a formula, and then say like we would like to create a hackathon in a box kind of thing, right? So because it's basically the same thing, it's just like a different audience, right? And then since they already pay for that website, just have so you have the community groups, which are just meetups, then you have the KCDs, and maybe you have that in the student hackathons that are kind of like, then you have 3 categories, right? So because the platform is there already, anyone can request to have a group
Right.
on it, but we would need to kind of provide that guide, like what it is. But it's nice because the resources are there. We just have to come up with the formula, right?
Right. Great.
Sorry, I wasn't able to catch the platform part. Does the working group have some working partnership with AWS or GCP, etc., where like students get credits to deploy their solutions and test out, or like they'll run it locally?
No, I think Catherine was saying a place to host the content that if you wanted to go start your own workshop.
Got
So
it. Got
kind
it.
of like
Makes
DevOps
sense.
Days does, or
Makes sense.
community.
That
Yeah.
makes-
So what we've actually relied on to solve the problem that you're talking about is that like all 3 of the big cloud providers give student access a relatively high number of credits. And so, as well as, to a large extent, educators as well. And so, as I can say, so we often kind of tailor the the workshop or the class or the whatever to kind of fit within whatever that free set of credits are.
makes sense.
The challenge is, of course, when we have a student who goes and takes 2 of the classes that both, are kind of hitting that limit. But, that's a problem for another day a lot of the time.
Makes sense.
So I really like it's like, I don't know, I don't want to derail the conversation, but like, well, it is kind of like the hackathon idea would be could be like a building block for the curriculum, right? Kind of stuff. It's not like, so maybe that's actually a good idea to have like a smaller kind of step, something that is actionable? Because we were talking about doing like starting with one module. That module could be just a module for a class. It could be also like something that's more hands-on, right? It could be the same thing, right? Like giving it a different, just a repo with instructions, or like have like, okay, here's how you create an event, right? Because that seems like small enough to see try to see like some early wins, early successes.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I mean, I think having the, at least one model would also be good. And because I think we need we need at least kind of a bit of content, right? So that we can then go try to write a grant or something for the ACM. Because I'm already running into challenges of like funding conference travel, without getting some grants. So, but I think it's, much like a startup, right? You don't want to go after any money without having a little bit to show of what you're doing. So yeah, I think Corey, if you can kind of tie your workshop kind of back to this group, right? I think that would be really cool. And then we can kind of work on, it doesn't have to be generic yet, right? It just has to be kind of like, here's an example, right? And then,
Right.
maybe we can do a couple and then can get to a genericized version.
Yep, I can do that.
Yeah, since you're doing all the work already, right? Just have that and then make it generic. Once you've done it, like make it generic, and then maybe have some ideas from Langdon and like some other people, and it's like how to improve. But like have that as a
Certainly.
starting point just helps, right? And then yeah, I actually really like that idea, and I like it because there is that community groups thing, and we can tie it in right there.
Right.
And that
And I'll
like
record it.
It feels more like easier, like an easier buy, like like just saying like, hey, we have this, like to faculty in different universities, say like, hey, just give it a try. That's like an easier than, oh, this is a curriculum you should include into your, like that is more like a bigger ask, bigger commitment or something. This is like a little thing you can just do additionally. So I feel like that might be the right hook to get people in and say like, hey, what they've been doing is really cool, and then check out what else.
And I'll record it so that we can use it so people can watch it and see what happened at the hackathon too.
Yeah. Very cool. So when is your event again?
So week after the your cloud KubeCon. It's March 29th.
In the notes.
March
Once
29th.
changed it. It's actually in the top of the notes.
So it's 3/29 and 4/5. Yeah. I'm working with George. I sent him my mailing address. He sent me a bunch of stuff, posters or whatever he has that he can send to me, things to give away.
Oh, that's cool.
And then, of course, you have to have food there. Students are hungry, so you always have to feed them.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things we did with our DevOps days, actually, and DevOps days was a little bit different because one thing we had no trouble getting was a ton of money. But one of the things that we did was we actually charged, I think it was $20 or something to attend, and then gave the $20 back to them essentially as like gift cards at restaurant or whatever for lunch. So they could kind of go out to lunch and then come back, whatever. But giving out or requiring the $20, even if we paid it back to them, really fixed our turnout problem. Because if you have a free event, right, you get 50% drop off if you're lucky. And so one of the things we did with DevOps days, we were like, okay, $20, relatively nominal. It's enough to make people think about it, but not so much that it would be a barrier. And then we gave it back to them anyway. But it did help a lot with getting predictable turnout. And if you're doing any kind of like catered event or whatever, that's basically the 80% of your challenge, you know.
Right. So for next meeting, I'll have like a good outline of the hackathon, but also content for the hackathon also. And we can use some of that content, like Catherine suggested, to build the one-time module or other modules for our project there. At least
Yeah,
get
sounds
something
good.
going.
Just added that as an action item.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it because it's I think that will really help because you have something concrete and you have a deadline and you will do it. And I think the problem with this group is like getting started with something because it's like there is nothing, there is no real deadline, right? And then life comes and happens, and like we need
Right.
that one little thing that is there, concrete, and then improve. I think like improving something, or like it's always hard to start with a blank page, right? If you have something, it's easier. So I feel like that will really help, kind of like just having that starting point and building from there.
You got it. I'll do that for next meeting.
One
And
suggestion,
sorry,
sorry, please go.
go ahead.
One suggestion which I had was like, should we take a like stock or survey of different clouds curriculums or courses offered out there, and then try to understand what are the gaps?
Yeah, we've been trying to collect those in, I don't know if you've gotten access to the, I mean, I don't know if it's open, but if you've seen the Google Drive folder, there's actually a, sorry, it's very dry in Boston right now, and it's making me cough like crazy. There is a spreadsheet that's called something brilliant like prior art. Yeah, potential prior art. And that's where we've been trying to collect that information.
Try to find that. And I think there we can identify what are the areas where I think we can focus on our gaps we see, and then try to put content around it or address those in the
Yeah,
new.
we have some proposals already. In that same folder, there's a proposed educational modules thing. And if you go, so there's kind of in that same file, there's like a template for what the modules look like, but then also down below is like some proposed list like of what we'd like to see.
Got it. But so, and that's a different track as part of a different working group or as part of this working group?
No, this working group. Yeah, no, both of those things. It's like one is like, okay, let's go collect prior art that we can either borrow or look for gaps in or whatever, or reference, and also like the stuff we think would be a good thing to create.
Awesome, thank you.
I think we have a plan for our next meeting, right? Which all is on Curry's. But
so I better
you were
show
going
up.
to do it anyways. You were going to do it anyways. I love that.
Yeah,
it's like part of your actual job.
Exactly. And it's for the students, so
yeah,
it's well, has a good purpose. Now, if this goes well, I was thinking about October hosting the next one. I kind of like to, I'm a bit of a planner, and October would be the next boot camp hackathon here, because I think the Salt Lake City, I think we're in November is the Salt Lake City KubeCon.
yes.
Yeah, so I have it before the next one. And
Yeah, that would be great, because then we could use the one that you're doing now, which is fairly soon, will be the basis. And then we get everyone's input, like and then you have something presumably much better because you have like the input from different people. So right for next time. And if and then maybe we could do it as part of the CNCF thing, right? Like the community group, like maybe that could be the goal, right? You do it on your own and kind of contribute your work to this group so we can improve it and make it an official CNCF thing.
Okay, yeah,
And then yeah, just schedule it before KubeCon, and that could be like a KubeCon talk too, right? That there is this new thing, you
right.
know, that anyone initiative
That's
that
actually
any
it's actually why I might suggest actually not holding in October, but rather hold it like the second, whatever it is, like the second week of November. First of
After.
all, it's Florida, so yeah, so people like to go there when it's cold out. But second, then we can play it up right at KubeCon beforehand. If it's before KubeCon, we could talk about the results, which is nice. So I don't, just something to think about is like, if it was like more like the week of the 11th. I don't know what your semester schedule is like. When's like finals for you for next semester?
For the
Like
fall.
probably mid-December.
Yeah, beginning of December. But
Yeah.
also, I always go to the AWS conference, and that's at the end of November, December. So that's the other reason why I was going to have it in October before all the conferences in November and December.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's not a, it's kind of an idea rather than a, I think it's a really good idea, So,
Gotcha. Yeah, that's it.
I'm just making notes. So basically the potential plan is kind of like Corey donates the hackathon template. Basically, we're still gonna like in the group, like you're still gonna get feedback and whatever, but it's like still your thing, right? Because we cannot make it a CNCF thing that fast. Then we try to make it a like CNCF hackathon event by fall and try to submit a talk. We can't submit, try to get it. Submit a KubeCon North America talk to promote for awareness.
Yeah.
And that gives us like, just because we have those deadlines, right? Like KubeCon, your thing happening, that gives us a certain timeline to kind of, it's always good to have like a deadline. Without the deadline, it's like, so.
And the other thing I can donate is like a template for mentorship. So I want to at least have 1 or 2 students being mentored by a cloud native, project team leader by this summer. So I'm trying to work with was it Nate W. To, I know the Google Cloud of Code of Summer is coming up, but that model doesn't fit for students because of the timing of the project. It doesn't align with a summer semester or a spring semester. So I'm going to get with Nate again to see if we can come up with a different approach for having students being mentored by project team leaders on cloud native projects. So I can also eventually donate that, because I'm doing that with OpenStack right now, the Open Infra folks.
Yeah.
So maybe other instructors will set up mentorships on their end for their students. It's up to them.
Yeah. Well, it's good. Like the fact that you're working with Nate is like, I mean, he's the co-chair of.
Yep.
Is he the
I've
co-chair?
had one meeting with him.
Person. He's not really a co-chair, but like he is the CNCF person for mentorship, right? So
I can update you all on that as that progresses.
So the other thing I would kind of like to mention too is, I don't know, Corey, I think you and I have the most kind of familiarity with this, but should we start putting together a grant proposal? Because, funding for some of this stuff would be nice.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any, I mean, have you done many grants before?
I haven't done any grants, but I did study grants during my nonprofit days. I
Oh, okay.
one of my first master's was in nonprofit and grant research, but I'm sure we can figure it out.
Yeah, it's more. I think the first step is to go and find a couple of potential, kind of suitable targets, and then because they'll all be on different cycles and everything else. But I'm pretty sure there's a spring-ish cycle for education funding for like ACM and IEEE. And so that might be a good place to start. I also kind of think that if we have the content of a grant proposal, it also gets a lot easier to write other grants. It's kind of like that. I'm sure you did that in nonprofits, right? It's like once you have like a bunch of the boilerplate, then it's a lot easier just to say, oh, this one sounds good. So that's another thing I think that. Like I said, I know I'm already starting to have problems with it. So
yeah, we can work on that. Nice little other project.
Yeah, I did talk to a guy who actually never seemed to show up to the meetings, but who said he was actually interested in writing grants for this project. But of course, he disappeared. So I will try to go and see if I can convince him to start working on that, because that'd be nice. All right. There's something anybody wants to talk about?
I think we've got an action plan.
Yeah, the action list always seems to grow.
Hmm?
The action list always seems to grow.
But your mic is kind of like a little bit, sometimes makes like a little
Oh,
noise.
sorry. I don't even know. Yeah, I think it's using the browser. I said the action item list always seems to be growing.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna definitely crank out. I found the project template for CNCF. I actually found it a while ago, but I forgot about it. And so I'm actually gonna do that, whatever we call it, that initial PR with the charter content, and then some of the other template files like code of conduct and probably maintainer governance, and then call for a vote for that, and just kind of throw it all in at once. Cool. So you want to close it out? Call it a day?
Yeah. Sounds good.
Awesome.
All right. Hasta la pasta. Have a lovely weekend, y'all.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.